Thank you for mentioning the types of organizations, the nonprofits that would be affected. I've had that concern when we started today with this bill, which I'm going to have to study, Representative Tucker. I've got to look at it some more. But I did have concerns about how our nonprofits, would be affected. And I would like to ask about, to our chair, if we think that appointments or some type of merit, if we think that funds that are with this undisclosed, unreported money, if that influences a race, do we not think that a person who is elected to appoint a committee to appoint judges will not also have possible funds donated into their campaigns to help encourage certain appointments? Do we not believe honestly that risk is there as well? And I think that we all do practically, that we want to look at this to see if we can do something different. But to think that a group that's appointed, that there's not going to be some persuasion somewhere out there before it gets to the actual judges that are appointed, that's going to be there. So I guess this way, at least with funds, I think it's a little bit more disclosed. And I have concerns about that. For instance, let's just use an example, if our governor appoints someone or a committee to appoint judges. Obviously, the governor runs for office. The governor could receive funds. He hasn't given them to anyone, but he could appoint a group that's going to appoint judges to his favor. And that can work for or against any citizen that's out there. Just like a campaign contribution could. So I think when we look at that, we've got to look at both sides. And we really have to be very cautious before we jump in and decide that we want to do some type of an appointment. I personally think even in all of with our imperfections, that the people do a better job in the long run. And
let me address that first of all, because first of all, there's no perfect system.
Right.
But what you're looking at, and again, it's open for debate and whether we would do it. But if we decide to invest in that, you have a multiple step process where you have the pro tem speaker appoint merit, but it wouldn't just be the governor. The governor submits 5 names, the committee does a full vetting of them, submits 3 names back, ranks them, and the governor has to choose. Still not, it's possible to be influenced to unreported money. But the difference, I think, is that judge, once they're on the bench, if they have any loyalty, is to the governor. Now, the governor may have appointed them for other reasons, but that judge is allegiance to the governor, not some party who may appear before them. And so that's the distinction that I think is significant. Right now we have a problem where it's possible, I'm not saying it's happened, but it's certainly possible that a party appearing before the Supreme Court or Court of Appeals does not know that this judge presiding over the case has extreme loyalty and possibly controlled by a group that put in millions of dollars.
We understand that, and I think there's also problems on the other side that I mentioned. But I do think that as legislators, anyone that's elected has a higher standard of accountability to the people of the state of Arkansas, no matter what position they're in. And I think that is clear. I think, look at judge. A judge does wrong, and he knows the law, and he does it anyhow. He's going to be held to higher accountability, and I think that is clear. That when we run, we are held to that accountability, and we should be. We're elected to do our jobs for them. And so I appreciate the information you brought today that gives us all types of nonprofits, that we just have to be very cautious before we do anything. Because whether I'm conservative or liberal, on the right side of one issue or on the opposite side, what I do today with this law, Representative Tucker, I may, cause problems even for myself later on for the things that I believe in. And I certainly don't want to keep people from donating to nonprofits. So I appreciate you going in the circle of different types of organizations or nonprofits, how we would be affected. Thank you.
All right,